In our last lesson, we reviewed the ancient Greek gods and goddesses. We talked about some things that make gods and goddesses different from humans. Gods and goddesses are believed to be immortal, meaning that they never die, and they have special or magical powers. But human beings are mortal, which means that they will die, and human beings do not have magical powers. We are going to read an ancient Greek myth today. Remember, myths are fictional stories that try to explain events or things in nature. Myths usually teach some kind of moral lesson, and they're usually entertaining stories too. So myths will explain things in nature, teach moral lessons, and entertain the listener. Greek myths have many characters, both mortal and immortal. Immortal characters that are often found in myths are gods and goddesses, whereas mortal characters found in Greek myths are usually humans or other animals. In our first myth, our myth that we will read today, it is a story that tries to explain how the first mortal creatures were created. Before we read that myth, we'll go over our vocabulary words. Foresight. Foresight is the act of thinking ahead. Yasmin had the foresight to take an umbrella when she saw the cloudy skies that later brought a heavy afternoon shower. Hindsight. Hindsight is the realization that past situations could have been handled differently. In hindsight, Frank realized that it had not been a good idea to run around the wet pool. Ridiculous. If something is ridiculous, it is laughable and silly or unreasonable. Lexi always used the most ridiculous excuses when she forgot to do her homework. Terrifying. If something is terrifying, it is frightening or full of terror. Tomas thought roller coasters were terrifying and refused to ride on them. Amusing. If something is amusing, it is pleasantly funny or entertaining. The kittens were amusing to watch as they rolled around and jumped on each other. Think about something you've experienced that was amusing. Turn and tell whoever is helping you today about that thing that you found amusing. Long, long ago, there were two brothers named Prometheus and Epimetheus. Their names fit them perfectly. Prometheus means foresight or thinking ahead in Greek, and Epimetheus means hindsight or thinking afterward. Prometheus was quite clever and was always planning ahead in an effort to make things better for himself and for those around him. On the other hand, his brother, Epimetheus, was always doing foolish things without thinking. The ancient Greeks believed that it was Prometheus who first created human beings, and that it was his brother who made all of the other creatures. Zeus gave the two brothers gifts to give the living things. So while Prometheus scooped up some river clay and began to make human beings in the likeness of gods, which means that they looked like the gods, his brother, Epimetheus, made all sorts of animals and gave them all of the good gifts. The animals could see, smell, and hear better than humans, and they had fur to keep them warm, unlike man, who shivered in the cold. In our picture, we can see Prometheus sculpting a man. Remember, Prometheus is foresight or thinking ahead. And we see Epimetheus sculpting an animal. Epimetheus means hindsight or looking afterward. How are the animals that were created by Epimetheus different from the humans that were created by Prometheus? Zeus, king of the gods, noticed all of these new animal creatures hopping, swimming, flying, growing, and walking on Earth. Zeus told Epimetheus, These toys of yours are quite amusing. Some of them make me laugh, like that. What was it that you called it? Elephant? What an imagination you have. Others are quite beautiful in their own way. This morning I was watching your dolphins leap and play in the water. They are very graceful. To Prometheus he said, "But these humans of yours, what good are they? The other creatures are bigger, faster, or stronger. Humans just sit around. I think that you should get rid of them and try something else." Prometheus, however, had something in mind when he created the humans. He suggested, "Please be patient, great Zeus. I think you will be surprised and pleased at how quickly humans can learn and how useful they can be. Why, I plan to teach them to pray to you. Wouldn't you like that?" Zeus agreed that this sounded like a fine idea. "Very well. I will give humans time to prove that they are worthy. If they do not do so, however, you will have to get rid of them." What do you think is going to happen? Make a prediction about what you think is going to happen. Prometheus felt sorry for the humans, though. They had no fur to keep them warm, nothing to light the darkness, and nothing with which to cook their food. Humans needed fire, especially if they were to prove themselves. He asked Zeus for this gift for the humans, but Zeus refused. "Fire," he said, "is just for the gods." One of the Greek gods was the god of fire. Do you remember who that was? It was Hephaestus, the blacksmith of the gods. Prometheus knew that the humans needed fire. With fire, he thought to himself, they can soften metal and bend it into shapes to make tools. With these tools, they can plow fields, fish, and hunt for food, cook that food, and build shelters in which to live. With fire, humans can also honor the gods with sacrifices. Human beings need the fire, but getting it for them will be very dangerous. Prometheus knew that up on Mount Olympus, where most of the gods lived, there was one carefully guarded fire. The gods and goddesses used this fire to cook their food. From the same fire, however, came the dangerous lightning bolts that Zeus would fling through the sky. In fact, all fire came from this one source. Zeus had said, "Fire is too dangerous for these ridiculous humans to use wisely. Only we gods and goddesses shall have it." Yet Prometheus was determined to bring fire to humans, even if that meant disobeying the king of the gods. Prometheus picked a stalk of fennel. Fennel is an edible plant with small yellow flowers, and carried it up to Mount Olympus. When no one was looking, he dropped a burning coal from the fire into the plant's hollow center, where no one could see it. Then he carried the plant, with the fire hidden inside, down to earth. So Prometheus disobeyed Zeus and stole the fire. How do you think Zeus is going to react when he finds out? Not long after that, Zeus noticed smoke rising from the earth. Gazing down in amazement, he saw that humans were now doing all sorts of wonderful new things. Zeus thought, "It seems human beings really are worth keeping around." At the same time, however, he was furious when he found out that humans possessed fire when he himself had forbidden this. Guessing at once who was responsible, Zeus promised, "I will teach Prometheus and these human beings of his that they must obey me. And I know exactly how to do it." Soon after this, Zeus ordered Prometheus chained to the side of a mountain. Every day an eagle would come and peck at Prometheus, but because he was immortal, he would never die. That does not sound like a fun punishment to me, friends. I don't think I would like that. Let's see what happens next. Now Zeus was still angry that humans had fire, but he decided to let them keep it, and instead punish man in a different way. To punish man, I will create a special box. Opening this box will have unpleasant results. I will need a new human to bring this box to man. Zeus ordered one of the gods to create this new human. He then asked each of the goddesses and gods for some wonderful quality or talent for this new human, explaining, I want someone who possesses all of the most wonderful characteristics. I shall name her Pandora. The name Pandora means all gifts. The gods gave her the gifts of beauty, intelligence, curiosity, and persuasion. Persuasion is the ability to make someone agree with your opinion. This is a pretty long read aloud today. Let's review what we've learned so far. The first part of our story was about Prometheus. What was it that Prometheus created? He created humans. We're now reading that Zeus is finding a way to punish the humans. Why did Zeus want to punish the humans? He was upset that they had fire. He's now created Pandora, a new human named Pandora. Why did he create Pandora? Zeus wanted Pandora to deliver a box to man. Zeus finally sent Pandora down to the earth with the closed box as a gift to Prometheus. Before sending Pandora, Zeus warned her to never open the box. Pandora, however, desired to know what was in the box. She fought against her curiosity, but day after day, night after night, the question nibbled away at her. Pandora would often sit and look at the box, wondering, wanting to open it, but always stopping herself. What would you do if you were Pandora? Do you think you would want to open it? Do you think Pandora will open it? One day, when none of the housekeepers or servants were around, Pandora went to gaze at the box. Finally, she thought, surely one little peek cannot hurt. She stood up and studied the closed box one last time before she took a deep breath and opened the lid. We'll make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Out of the box burst all of the frightening, saddening, anger-causing, terrifying evils and sorrows. Greed, hate, anger, pain, disease, disaster, and death swarmed from the box and around Pandora. She tried to shove them back inside, but she was too late. Out they flew in all directions. How do you think Pandora felt when all of these terrible things burst out of the box? By the time Pandora was able to replace the lid back on the box, only one thing remained: hope. Alright, as always, my friends, I've got some questions about what we just read about. My first question is about the first part of our read aloud. I want to know, according to Greek mythology, who created the first mortal creatures? You've got it. It was Prometheus. Remember, Prometheus's name means foresight or looking or thinking ahead. His brother was Epimetheus, which means looking back or looking afterward. And Epimetheus created all of the other animals on the earth, according to Greek mythology. Prometheus stole fire for the humans so that they could prove themselves to Zeus. Zeus was very upset with Prometheus for stealing the fire. What did Zeus do to punish Prometheus? Zeus chained Prometheus to the mountain, where an eagle would peck at him every day, but because Prometheus was immortal, he would never die and would have to endure or go through that forever. Zeus also wanted to punish the humans for obtaining the fire or for having fire when he forbade it. But he did something different with the humans. For the humans, he sent Pandora down to Earth with a closed box and strict instructions to not open it. What did Pandora do with the box? You're right, she disobeyed Zeus and she opened the box. She was too curious about what was inside and she opened it. What was inside of the box when she opened it? Inside the box, there was pain and rage and death and sorrow and all of the bad things in the world that came flying out of that box. But there was one good thing in the box. What was the one good thing in the box? It was hope, to help us get through all of those bad things. There is an expression that warns people not to open Pandora's box. Turn to whoever's helping you today and tell them what you think that means. Alright, when you are done talking to whoever is helping you today about that, I'm going to have you open up the PDF attached to this assignment, and I'll show you what to do on that one today. Alright, when you have that assignment open in Kami, it will look like this. There are two parts to our assignment today. In our first part, we have some pictures that show different things that happened in our story. Our job is to put these in the right order that they happened. So for this one, you can use a text box or a drawing tool. We're going to number them. I'm going to choose a bright color so it's easy to see. We'll do red. I need to figure out which of these things happened first. Did Prometheus steal the fire first? Did Pandora find hope in the box first? Was she carrying the box first? Did Zeus chain Prometheus to the mountain first? Or were Prometheus and Epimetheus making creatures first? Our story today started with Prometheus and Epimetheus creating creatures out of the river clay. Remember, Prometheus was creating humans, and Epimetheus was creating other animals. Your next job will be to write a number 2, either using the drawing tool or the text box, next to the second thing that happened, and so on until you have labeled all 5 events. When you are done labeling all 5 events, go ahead and pause this video until you are finished, and then when you're done, we'll move on to the next one. Alright, my friends, now that you are done with that first part, we're going to work on our journal section. Our journal today will be a little bit different. We talked about 2 different main characters today. There are a couple of other characters, but our 2 main characters were Prometheus and Pandora. I want you to pick one of those characters. So your title will either be just Prometheus or just Pandora. I want you to write 2 or 3 sentences about what happened in our story about Prometheus or Pandora, whoever you have selected to write about today. Some things you might want to include when you write about them are, is the character a mortal character or an immortal character? What did the character do in the myth that you read? Why was this character important to the ancient Greeks? You could also describe how that character felt about humans, or about the situation that they were in. When you are finished writing your 2 to 3 sentences about the character of your choice, I want you to illustrate your journal today. So you're going to draw a picture about what you wrote about. When you are finished, go ahead and turn this one in, and you are all done with knowledge for today.